Hello, everyone. My name is Santi, and I will be your host today as we cast, assess, and draft the first season of Stranded, a brand new LRG. I am here with a great group of panelists, but the first person I would like to bring on is one of the creators of Stranded. Welcome, Will. Hello, Will.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for doing this and allowing us to kind of give some feedback on the players. Really excited to get in and kind of get to know everyone a little bit. So how'd you guys get here?
Yeah. I have done production for, 10 games at this point. I've done a couple of seasons of competitive events, a couple of seasons of Caucus Challenge, Survive Fern, which is a local one here in Jersey. I was challenge host for Destination Mole. It goes on and on. I met my co-creator, who was Jack, during Survive Fern season 1. We did season 2 together as well. And then we kind of were just like, why are we executing someone else's vision? Why don't we do our thing? Because Survive Fern is like a music festival and a game all into one, like very different. And so we were like, let's do it. And it was one of the easiest working experiences I've ever had with somebody in creating the game. And I was like, all right, we're really doing it. I have 10 games of experience, I think, hopefully, would know what I'm doing. And the response, we had 40 apps for season 1, which was insane for an LRG. A season 1, no one knew who the fuck we were. I mean, I knew some people, but especially with some of the newer LRGs, you want to be able to trust production and you don't know what you're getting. And the fact that we had 40 people apply, we had people fly in to play, which was a gag. And we casted, I think, the best cast we got. And I'm really excited, and we're Stranded kind of what the space we want to occupy. Me and Jack really loved the older seasons of Survivor where they really stayed on theme. And it starts with our name, Stranded. What does it mean to be stranded? And all the challenges you'll see in the episodes, all the challenges connect to Stranded and what that means and how you do things. And I can exclusively reveal, you'll see it in the episode, but it's not a huge secret. One of the main things with Stranded, and this is going to happen with every season, is we are a one world Survivor game. Every single season will be one world. It's said in the first 3 minutes of the first episodes. Can't miss it. Because that's a space like I've seen other LRGs do it, but no one's doing it every single season. And I feel like if you know that coming in, what do you want your game to look like? And how do we play within one world? And it's one of my favorite twists. And it was on a very lackluster Survivor season. And that's kind of where we ran with it. And it's like, how can we play within this and make it a twist that it's really hard to navigate? Similar, and you see it in episode 1. Okay, yeah, the winning tribe wins. They're sitting there. You're seeing every single person that losing tribe's talking to. You can't sit there at a merge or a swap and say, oh, well, I don't know, Santi. I'm like, bitch, you fucking checked in with them every round. What are you talking about? I saw you. You can't, you know what I mean? And our tagline for season 1 was there's nowhere to hide. And that's part of it. And we have a tagline for season 2 on our Instagram, stranded_LRG. Go check it out.
When is casting?
So we are casting season 2 right now. Right now, casting is scheduled to end first week of April. Might extend based off of some other LRGs are casting, and there's a little overlap, so we might extend it. But not right now. It's ending first week of April, and we want to be known as the players' game. Me and Bex, who created season 2, are players, and you come to Stranded to test yourself strategically. Survival Challenge and like Bloomington, those are hard survival games. You go to them and they offer something great. We're Survivor Deprivation Light, but you come to Stranded because you're like, I want to see how good strategically I am. That's what we're going to give you.
Awesome. And episodes are starting next weekend, I believe, correct?
Well, I guess if today's Sunday, technically the weekend. So we're looking at Saturday as the premiere. Okay. And then, weekly to bi-weekly from there.
And you guys are at youtube.com at stranded_LRG, correct?
Exactly. And right now we have 16 of our preseason interviews that were edited by my other editor, Matt, who did an amazing job. And I think they all came out really well.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and kind of giving us some more information about the game and what we can expect in season 1. Really looking forward to watching episodes next week. If you're interested, head over to stranded_LRG on Instagram and apply for season 2. Anything else you would like to say before we bring the panelists on? Well.
No, I'm so excited that this little LRG has gotten a cast draft. Like, what the hell? It's so cool. I'm going to be in the chat if any viewers have a question. If you guys have a question, always down to answer it. So I'll be in the chat if you guys need me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming, and we'll see you later, okay?
Thank you so much. Have fun.
All right. Well, everyone, let's go ahead and bring in our group of panelists. First up, we have, if she tells you to write her name down, it's probably not a good idea, Miss Julia Rowe.
Hello.
Hello, Julia. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. You excited to draft?
Very. I'm excited to win. Don't get it twisted.
Exactly. All right. Well, next up, we have the coach with the most, at least in my eyes, Coach Andrew. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing well. I'm also ready to potentially put together a solid roster here. We'll find out. I think we have a winning team put together. Hopefully you guys don't steal my people.
We'll see. And then last but not least, the host of Big Brother Hogwarts, Bill Lucio. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
I know. Any favorites that you guys have you want to talk about, or are we keeping it tight-lipped?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, before we get there,
we'll get there.
I gave y'all a brief intro. Do any of you guys want to give an introduction about yourself? Kind of let everyone know how you got into the crazy LRG world and what brought you here? Cool. We're going to do that anyways. Bill, you can go first.
Sure. Hi, my name is Bill Lucio. I am the host of Big Brother Hogwarts. We are on season 4, which is going to be live streaming on our Facebook group next July. I started playing orgs back in, I don't remember the year, but I remember it was this season of Big Brother with Andy Herron. So I think that was like BB15. I know Andy Herron, and we were chatting, and I was like, I really, really want to do this. So I auditioned and didn't get on it. And then I found the online community, which then transitioned to the live community. I played a couple of games, 3, 4, maybe, got hooked. But I consider myself to be like a creative thinker, and I'm like poster child for firstborn. I have 2 brothers, oldest, middle, youngest, and we're like exactly poster child. So I'm like really anal. I don't like giving up control. So when I play these other games, I'm constantly in my head like, ooh, if I was on production, I wouldn't have let this happen, or ooh, they should have did this in the challenge. And I kind of was just like, I'm just gonna create my own. And I love Harry Potter because I'm a basic millennial. So I bridged the 2 together, and we play Big Brother in Hogwarts houses, and it's really fun.
Awesome. It is a great show. I watched it last summer and definitely suggest you guys check it out. Miss Julia, how'd you get here?
Yes, been playing orgs for a couple years, live right down the road from Andrew Denson here, who's been playing LRGs for a little bit. This summer said, listen, you gotta do it. You gotta finally rip the Band-Aid off. So I did, played a couple this summer, one in the fall, and have fallen in love. Excited to dive more into the community.
She's so humble, everyone. Coach Drew, how about you?
Not humble, but I'm kidding. I started playing orgs January of 2021. I started playing LRG summer of 2021. I played Survivor New York, and then I didn't play another game for a few years because bad things started happening in my life. And so this past summer and spring and fall, I was able to, I think 3 or 4 after not playing a single live game in 4 years. And similar to everyone else, kind of just fell in love with the community. Yes, it can be expensive at times, but it's worth it because most of the people I've made friends with in my 30s have come from this community. So there's that.
Awesome. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I started playing online during the pandemic like everybody else, and then I discovered LRGs. in, oh gosh, 2023, I think. And since that time, I've now played 5. I have placed across the board. And then, like Will, I was like, you know what? I can do this. So last November, I hosted Big Brother ATX. I'm sorry, Reindeer Games ATX, which is based off of Big Brother Reindeer Games. And that was a lot of fun. And we're going to be doing that again this year. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to draft these players. Some of the players I know, some of them I've never heard of before. So you guys ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right. Well, buckle up because we have 4 hours of videos to go through. I'm just kidding. We all watched the videos beforehand. So let's go ahead and get started. The first player we have is Alex. So Alex is a lobbyist. He has played Survivor Rock Creek, got 6th place. Survivor Fractured also got 6th place. What are you guys' thoughts initially from Alex's videos?
I mean, the first thing that popped in my head was, as soon as he said, I'm a lobbyist, I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then it's almost as if he could tell he knew that was going to be the audience reaction. It's like, oh, no, it's for civil rights. It's a civil rights lobbyist. Like, we're good. And then he starts naming Survivor players that he actually enjoys, like Yule. I believe he dropped Earl Cole's name in there. I think he dropped Tasha, which, like, I won't say it's a deep cut because she comes from Cagayan, but, like, you don't normally hear folks drop Tasha. And so it became very appealing to me. And, the rest of the video, I started to get invested in. He was the last video that I watched. So I really got invested towards the end when I had already kind of picked out my favorites. He kind of took the spot of someone. Spoilers.
Yeah, I really like that he was a lobbyist too. I feel like that's going to give him a lot of sway, or at least the ability to persuade people. But I don't know. Sometimes I can smell that coming a mile away. So it'll be interesting to see play out. What about you, Julia and Bill? What y'all think?
Yeah, I think the ability to tailor the conversation to the person you're talking to is super important to Survivor, and I think it's something that he's going to have down. It's just like you said, Santi, is it something that people are going to be able to sniff out as maybe sounding a little disingenuous? But like Coach, he quickly became one of my faves. I have a lot of faith in him to do well.
Yeah. And let's hope he doesn't get 6th place because 666 would not be a good number for him. So hopefully he does better than 6th place this season. All right, let's move on to the next one. Oh, let's see here. Alex, real quick, go back to Alex. So Bill said Alex was cast 45 hours or 48 hours before the game started. So he was a replacement.
Yeah, I liked how that's how he opened his line. I was the alternate, and it's funny that my last name is Alt. I thought that was really funny. I really liked Alex. I think that he's fantastic. I love his occupation. Someone from like the public speaking world, like I'm a public speaking teacher. I coach speech and debate. And that ability to like control the conversation, like you said, is going to be really, really good. However, I am worried because like me, I like to talk and control the narrative. And sometimes the people who are really, really good at public speaking give the best answers at Tribal. You don't always want to be giving the best answers at Tribal. That's what always gets me in the end. Nobody wants to take me to the end because I'm the story guy, right? So I hope Alex is able to kind of understand when he's like talking too much and like sounding too eloquent, because while he may be really good at controlling the conversation and those public speaking skills, that could also be his downfall. But I'm really, really rooting for Alex, and I'm sorting everybody into houses because that's what I do in Big Brother Hogwarts. And I put Alex in house Hufflepuff.
Hell yeah.
Interesting. All right. Andrew. So Andrew,
He's a Ravenclaw.
Andrew is a professional trainer. He has played 4 LRGs, 5th place in Survivor Angelica, 4th place in 1984. Who would like to go first on Andrew?
So I like Andrew. And it's funny because he falls into the archetype that I don't normally root for. And he brings up his arms. He brings up his occupation. I think that one clip where David, ironically, is bringing up in their previous game, oh man, the guy with the arms. It's not really someone that I'm normally drawn to, but I think because of how he was speaking, it made it seem like it was very just talking to the, oh, I mean, it was talking to Will, but it felt like he was talking to me as an audience member, and I really, I'm fairly high on him. I understand that he might be looked at as a physical threat in this game, but if he can socialize with the right folks, I can see him going probably like at least to mid-merge. But if people think that he's like some random meathead, that might not work out for him.
Absolutely. I think with his archetype, physical, mixed with his general charisma, this is not someone Andrew's not someone I expect to go home in the pre-merge. I think given the rest of the cast, potentially they're going to need him for challenges. He's someone they're going to want to keep around, but someone I do get worried about once it hits that mid-merge area. Can we beat him in challenges? Is he someone who can win out? And I really become worried for him at that point in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrew is really trying to amp up the charm. I think people will see past the physicality. And I'm not saying that personal training is not an impressive job. That is not what I'm saying here. I think being a personal trainer is hard work. I think especially post-COVID, it's crazy. You have to like self-market. Like there's so much skill that goes into personal training beyond just working out. But there are quite a few people on this list that I think you could identify as like pretty high ranking professions. And I think if people start sharing their professions or people start figuring out professions, hanging out with a personal trainer might not seem as threatening as hanging out with a lobbyist or a counselor or, other occupations that are in the mix. So I think his personality is going to really win people over. And I hope he kind of plays up the dumb jock. I mean, he's got a really impressive track record. So I'm really excited to see how far he goes.
Yeah, Andrew will be one of many that I am completely biased about. I know Andrew from the online gaming community, and I had the opportunity to play closely with Andrew in an LRG. And yes, he has muscles, and yes, he's physical, but he is incredibly smart strategically. So I think the other players may underestimate that aspect of him. He is one I am definitely rooting for to see how far he can go. He has an impressive LRG record. So he's definitely one I am rooting for. Anybody else want to comment about Andrew? No?
And he almost bested me in a trivia challenge. So like he's got the smarts.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, it's hard to do. So
I put him in Gryffindor. I think he's cool. I think he's very, very Gryffindor from that interview.
I totally see Gryffindor. All right. So next up we have Beck. Beck is a middle school English teacher. She is a winner of competitive events, and she made it to her first final tribal council in her first game, which is Survive Fern. Thoughts on Beck's?
I loved Beck's. I actually love the women that are in the cast. I think they're fantastic, funny, and Beck's was one of the few of them. I felt like I was like laughing with her and having a conversation with her. I felt like she was in my bedroom and we were spilling the tea. I think she's really fun. I think she is gonna do well. I put Beck's in Hufflepuff. I think she seems to be really relationship based. There's a lot of people I put in House Hufflepuff. I think this is a cast of Hufflepuffs. But I think Bex is great. And look at that beautiful smile. Oh my gosh. Come on. How can you not want to work with that?
I will never know what Bill said. Yeah. Let's hope he comes. Are you back, Bill?
Yes, I'm back. I'm sorry.
You broke up for a second. It's fine. We'll never know what you said, though.
I said she's a Hufflepuff. Look at that beautiful smile.
Okay. Julia, Coach, what do you guys think?
Okay. I'm definitely biased towards the competitive events winners, but I completely agree with Bill. She seems so fun, and not saying she's not strategic because she's definitely going to be strategic, but watching the rest of the videos, this to me seems like a cast of a lot of very gamey people. And I think her ability to create these social bonds and bring people together is what's going to set her apart from the people who are going to be just gaming super hard.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. And this is not a knock on anyone that prefers strategy over social. I get there's many different ways of doing it. But if you have a cast that's mostly strategic, everyone's going to no matter what they say, they are still going to be looking for someone that can be their social rock, someone they can actually just talk to. And I feel like Bex is that type of person that, you know, and it works both ways. You know, she's going to have someone, hopefully, that is more of the, whatever you want to call the strategic people in these games. I think that she found someone to be the yin yang there. I think that would be really good. I think it could take her farther than most people on this cast. I can't wait to eat my words, and I'd be wrong about that, but like, I just felt I got a lot of winter vibes watching her video. So,
Is she the one that knows John S? Did they play together?
I can't recall.
did they mention that in the video?
I thought that there was a picture when they showed her cast photo for her Survivor game, and I thought John S was right there in the front.
It's possible. I paid attention more to the clips that were shown than the cast photos.
Yes, we got a yes.
Okay, so that'll be fun to see, because John S, I mean, I know we're not on him yet, but he talked very much about like being the villain in his game. So I'm interested to see what Bex's reaction is going to be when she sees him. That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. What I'm interested to see in Bex, and this is for a couple of people, is a game like competitive events is so fast. Like from, what is it, Julia? Like 16 hours that you guys are playing? And
it's
insane. It's insane. And so what I've heard and I've seen actually happen a lot is when people play the fast-paced games and then they enter a game where it's a little bit longer, the pacing for them is kind of off. I think Megan mentioned pacing as well. So I'm kind of hoping that Bex is one of those players that sits back and kind of lets the game unravel versus just jumping in with the rest of the gamers and going balls to the wall. But I definitely can see her being a social rock for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I honestly do, because just based on, I think there was an overwhelming majority of people said, you know, I got to make these moves. I got to do this. I got to do that. That leads to a lot of chaos very early. And Bex, if she does what she says she is going to do in the video, kind of slip through and just let the chaotic people take out each other, and then find that person that's like, hey, you know what? I know that all these people are crazy, but let's do this and let's see how far we can go.
Yeah. And real quick, we got a shout out from Alex Alt. He says, thank you guys for his kind words. Shout out, Alex. All right. Well, good luck to Bex. We'll see who's next. We got Bennett. He's a law student. He started in the org community and he's played Survivor Survivor in Los Angeles. Thoughts on Bennett?
He is smart and he knows it. That was the first thing I got from the video when he was talking, like, oh, he's smart. He knows he's smart. It comes across in how he talks and his like movements, how he's just like interacting in this interview. And it's something that drew me to him, but I know it's something that can definitely be off-putting. But I'm hoping with, we mentioned earlier, this cast, we have some like more professional people in like that side of the world that hopefully it draws people in.
Is that you?
Who is in Florida?
I'm on vacation. I'm with friends. So sorry.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so the first thing stood up to me for Bennett was, hey, I'm in New York. I need my Survivor crew. I figured this would be a great way to get to know my people. Then also says, you know, if it's between that, you know, making Survivor friends and winning the game, I'm always going to focus on winning the game because I want friends in the real world that don't take these games personally. And I feel like because he's such a large Survivor fan, the fact that he has watched almost every iteration, I think every English-speaking iteration of the show, shows that he understands the game. You don't watch that many seasons of Survivor and not understand what the game is actually about, and that it's just a game and that nothing happening here is personal. So I mean, obviously, one, I hope that he made friends with his cast afterwards. But two, I hope that he actually stuck to his guns of, yeah, I want to be friends with this person afterwards, but they got to go now, and then we'll hit each other up on Instagram or whatever afterwards if they don't hate me. So I'm like Julia said, he seems like he's got a good mind for the game, and I'm excited to see where that takes him in the game.
Yeah.
I love super fans. I think being passionate about something to that extent is so attractive, and I found myself fanning myself when I was watching Bennett's video because he's just so passionate. But he starts dropping all these names, and I'm like, ooh, this shirt needs to come off over here. This man knows what he's talking about. So I hope that I know that he's smart enough to dial it back and not like look like the super fan. But I mean, you think of people from Big Brother like Ian, you think of all the people that have come back, like Kelly Wentworth, like she does so well, especially when she comes back and stuff. And the super fans of the game go far, and they're able to like adapt because they've seen everybody in scenarios that they think are going to work and not work, and they learn from it. Right. And then to be able to go and watch all of the other survivors. So he's not only getting the culture of American Survivor, but now he's like learning all these cultures from other survivors. And when you meet with diverse people, you're going to have those cues from all the shows that he watched. I hope Bennett goes really far. I hope he makes so many friends, and I hope he has fun, whether he's first boot or last boot, because I'm just rooting for this cutie patootie over here.
Yeah. He is definitely going to be one that's going to be fun to watch. All right. Who we got next? Brooke. So Brooke is an ultrasound tech. She's played orgs before. She competed in competitive events, blood versus water. And John forgot one, but she's also a Survivor New York alumni. Am I correct on that?
Yeah. She played last.
Okay. Yep. So thoughts on Brooke?
There's a line in her video that like I feel like fully encapsulates Brooke as a player for just based off of what I have seen. So I was her tribe handler when she played Survivor New York. And in the video where she says, I think one, she says she's 4'11", maybe shorter. And then she says she's type A. That triggered something in my head because I'm like, in my head, Brooke is a lot taller than 4 anything. And I think because she has that type A personality, she just comes off as taller. Even when, in this video, I think she's just sitting on a couch or something like that. And it's very passive. It looks very passive, but like watching her speak and seeing how she interacts with people in real life, meaning in games, I can see like if people are just doing the eye test, they're going to underestimate her, and I think that's what's going to work very well because even when she does, as the kids say, stand on business, people will. Do kids still say that? I don't know.
We do.
Okay, we do. I think that she has that type of personality that she's not going to let anyone punk her. And in these games, there are people every now and then that like to punk people. If you guys don't know what punking means, I don't know how else to describe it.
We don't use that anymore.
People use punking anymore. Okay,
Kids don't say that one.
okay.
Yeah.
She's not going to let someone just walk all over her, things like that. And so, despite stature and all that, she says that she's been working out consistently for a while now. She's another person that I feel like if she gets with the right folks that are not going to just try to think they're just dictating what she's saying, I think she could make it extremely far in the game.
Yeah, definitely. Real quick before we continue with Brooke, Taylor Clark would like to know, Bill, what house is Bennett in?
Oh, I put Bennett in Hufflepuff because he wants to make friends. That was my decision.
I can totally see that. I'm curious on timing. Does anyone know if Stranded or Survivor New York happened before?
I think Survivor New York was after, I'm assuming.
Okay. Yeah, because I got the same impression.
Dropped Survivor New York in the video, except for the people that played before.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. That makes more sense. Yeah, I think Brooke is definitely one of those ones that she won't. I don't think she's an aggressive player, but unless she's forced to do so, and then it just comes on. And again, I watched it whenever I was on crew 2 from Survivor New York, but I was more further back. So this is just my observation standpoint. I'm watching from her video. But she's team non-male, so I'm going to root for her no matter what.
Yeah, all hail Queen Brooke. That's all I want to say. I think that she is fantastic. I love her. She's the only name that I have 3 hearts next to, so I'm just going with first impressions here. I think Brooke is a Gryffindor. I think she could potentially run this game and people won't even realize that she's running the game. And I would very much like to see her at Final Tribal Council. This is my girl. Please don't take her.
Yes, she's small. She's a woman. She's beautiful. She's someone who's going to be severely underestimated, especially like we've mentioned. We have a really game-heavy cast. I think this is someone that we have a lot of gamer guys could look right over her, and she can do all of the work under the radar, the social moves, and I think she has the ability to go very, very far.
I agree. Awesome. Well, who's next? Daniel. Daniel is a tour guide and actor and web designer. He has played 7 LRGs and he's a 2-time LRG finalist. Thoughts?
Okay, my initial thoughts for Daniel, and this is probably not true, and I'm spreading some gossip and rumors, but holy shit, this guy looks like Steven. I'm like, are they related? Is that his dad? Is that an uncle? This could be like an older cousin. The way I know Steven very well. He played my game and won Big Brother Hogwarts last season. And the way that I was hearing Daniel talk, I'm like, this is fucking Steven Lupo. I don't understand what I'm watching. It's like Steven Lupo from the future coming to play this game with Steven Lupo present. So I hope that—
You're ruining the twist. You're ruining the twist.
I hope that they— I have no idea if they're related or not, but they look identical. And if they are related and people don't catch up on this, I'm going to freak out. I put Daniel as what did I put him? I put him as a Gryffindor. I think he's a talker. I think he's not going to be able to shut up. Might get him in trouble. But I'm rooting for you, Daniel.
I don't know. I feel like as an LRG vet, he probably has the ability to know when to be quiet and when to kind of take a step back. My notes for Daniel, because I played briefly with Daniel, is that he's a dark horse. Because I didn't get to see him play. He was the first season I played with him. So I'm excited to actually see a game of Daniel play out. So yeah, excited for that.
Yeah, I was his tribe handler for Survivor New York. And on that tribe, I think he was like my second winner pick, of the 6 of them. In this community, I feel like, and the only reason I'm saying this because he referenced it in his video, being on the older end of things, I feel like sometimes could be a detriment. But if you have something, so let's say people just, once again, just do the eye test and say, oh, this person's older, which means things. Okay, yeah, a person might be screwed. But if they have the other 2 facets of the game, the strategic, the social, they can find their way through that early eye test. It's the same thing with sports or anything. People love to just go based off this and don't pay attention to what's actually going on. Just because the eye test tells you one thing does not mean that's actually what's happening. I think that Daniel in this video showed that he's got, the social and strategic mindset to get through. He says, I don't necessarily care about losing, winning, whatever. I just don't want to be the anchor that brings our tribe down if we were to lose a challenge. And it's like, yes, that's the perfect type of mindset. It's almost like we're gonna, Chris from Vanuatu, except for he was the anchor that brought his tribe down that first time, and he was still able to find legs to eventually make it to the end. So I'm pretty high on Daniel. Yes, that first boot aside, it kind of happens to all of us, and I just hope that he's able to gain footing this time around and do what he needs to do.
Yeah, and I don't think age will be a factor with this group. But I definitely get that concern because I do hear it from a lot of other players, and I've felt it myself as well. But I don't think that really will come into play.
I think he's going to be very fun to watch in the episodes. He talks how much he likes to narrate. He wants to be like Jonathan Penner. I think he's going to be so fun to watch when it comes to actually seeing the episodes. And also, we need to know where you were 25 years ago, man. Like Bill said, it's kind of uncanny.
Steven Lupo, if you're related to Daniel, please put it in the chat.
It is wild. I was watching that and I was like, what am I watching right now?
Now I'm looking at Daniel's picture and I'm like, well, I kind of do see Steven's eyes a little bit.
They do have very similar mannerisms. Like, Bill's not lying.
The way that they were
Yeah,
Daniel is very amused with our.
Daniel's in on the joke, so we can't, like, he's not going to admit it or not, but
Their NDA says that they cannot talk about.
yeah, exactly.
I understand. We'll wait for episode 1. All
Did we
right.
say what house he was in? Did we
Gryffindor.
Okay.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
I put him in. What did I put him in? Gryffindor.
I put on my Hufflepuff hat, and you stop putting people in Hufflepuff. I'm done with you.
They're all coming.
Okay, so real quick, let me go back to Daniel. We have an update.
Oh,
Steven says he's not related to him, but we're gonna start the rumor anyways. So
Steven's
Steven,
lying.
no,
Like, he's
you're
wrong.
welcome. All right, so moving over to Dave Holdsworth. He is an executive. He played his first LRD in 2017. He got second place in Survival Challenge, and he was the mole in the Mole in New York. Every time I mention the Mole New York, fuck Dave. But we'll move on from that. I actually adore Dave. He is an amazing. I put this on Facebook the other day that I couldn't solve it. I solved it already, but he called me and walked me through step by step on how to solve this puzzle. So Dave has a very special place in my heart. I cannot say anything bad about Dave. He is one I am going to enjoy watching. I love his game style. It's just he's an amazing player all around. So I don't want to take away from anybody else because I can talk about Dave for a while.
Yeah, I when I was watching his video, I texted Julie and asked, "Would Dave be a zaddy in this community?" And she said,
yeah.
"But but it's another one of these situations where I've met Dave now twice, and then I also did an interview for him for SBS All Stars. Every time I talk to him, it feels like I'm talking to someone that I have known forever. And I don't know, is because of his occupation, because of age, because of anything, but it doesn't really matter because if you're out there in the game, that shit doesn't matter. It's more of building those bonds. And if people feel comfortable just talking to you, even when strategy's happening and people don't feel like you're trying to, big league. I keep using phrases I don't know people still use. You're not trying to like talk down. And I don't feel that with Dave in the game that I played with him, the time that I interviewed him, and it's. Correct me if I'm wrong. Dave's the oldest person in the cast, right?
I think so.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because Daniel's in his 40s. Yeah. So for me, and this is once again spoilers, watching all of the videos, Dave was the one that kept saying, like, you know what? If I'm out there, as much as I'm threatened by this man, I probably would sit there and work with him because he's got the social and strategic side that, like, everyone says, oh, I play a great social game. He's one of the only ones that when they said it, I'm like, you know what? I actually buy that. And I actually would socialize and strategize with him because it doesn't seem like he's putting on a front when doing it.
Coach did it perfectly. You talk to Dave, it's like you're talking to your lifelong friend that you haven't seen in forever, but you just pick up right where you started. Playing my first LRG 21, we could not be further apart in our lives. And you talk to Dave and you're at home. And that's something that is so rare in these games. And it's something that I hope will take him far here.
Yeah. And that's what Dave fooled all of us in the Mole New York.
Yeah.
He was the mole. He has this warm presence about him. One thing I did want to mention is I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. So for the audience at home and Bill, Troy, who we'll get to in a minute, hosts the Mole New York, and Dave was the mole in the Mole New York. So Troy has a little bit of an understanding because Troy and Dave obviously know each other for a while now, but he kind of has an understanding of how Dave operates in his like strategic mentality because Dave came into the mole like very thought out of like everything that he was going to do. I think what we were there 5 minutes and he handed us all sunscreen so we would trust him, and he got up so everybody had a seat except for him. Like he's very thought out. So I wonder if that's going to come into play at all within him and Troy's relationship.
There are a lot of relationships here. And Bill, I'm so sorry, Bill. I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. Keep going.
There are a lot of relationships here, either that I know personally or that I know that one of the three of you guys know personally, that are going to be very compelling watching this season. Because as ignorant as it sounds, I always assume that when people go into a live game or an org, that they haven't told anyone. And so it's a surprise when they show up and someone is there. And then they have to make that judgment call in that moment. Hey, are we friend or foe, or are we somewhere here in the medium, in the middle? And Dave, along with a couple of other people that I know that Dave is connected with, I'm excited to see where that is, this season.
Yeah.
I want Daddy Dave to hold me and tell me every night that it's going to be okay. And I just get those vibes from him. Aside from Brooke, Dave's video was just really like enamored me. Like it's such a shame that they passed up on him. And this is just probably going to inflate his ego even more. But like, I agree. It is bullshit that for 22 seasons, they didn't want Dave on Survivor, because I think he would change America on the screens of our TVs. I think everybody needs to see, I don't know this man. I only know him through his little 10-minute video, but I think he's exactly what we need to see on our screens. And he works in eggs, and we need some eggs because these biceps aren't going to grow themselves and eggs are really expensive. So Daddy Dave, send me some eggs. And I put Dave in Gryffindor. So I think we have a strong little Gryffindor team here. That's it for the Gryffindors: Daniel, Andrew, Brooke, and Dave. So go Gryffindor.
Dave would definitely win the C award, if not win the game.
Dave would definitely win the C award.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
All right, moving on. We have Gibble. Gibble is 19. He's a college student. He played Late Night Amazing Race and won. He is the host of Survivor IU, and he's a longtime org vet. Thoughts on Gibble?
I have thoughts.
I have thoughts too.
No.
I have thoughts too.
I have thoughts. Obviously, fellow youngster playing these games, definitely younger than I was by a little bit, started. So I know sometimes that can be difficult with like the underestimation, people taking you seriously, those sorts of things. But something that just really made me go like that, opened my eyes when I was watching the video, is when he was saying that people from one of his casts he saw on a different cast, and his first reaction was to say, let's vote him out first. And that's definitely one of the ways to go. But we've mentioned it with Dave. This is going to be a cast with relationships. I think he himself is going to have relationships in this cast. So I'm very intrigued to see if he goes with the same strategy or if he switches it up.
Yeah, okay, so let's get okay. I'm not a fan of advantages. I'm not a fan of idols. Live game orgs, don't like them. And when he said, it's a 2-day game, I'm not going to waste my time doing this, I'm going to build my social bonds, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm with you. And then I learned that he was 19 and that he'd been orging for years. And if you're 19 and you've been orging for years, that means that you were a teeny bopper at one point, played orgs, and are now 19 and have hosted a game and all that. So like, that's not taking anything away. It's just, it's more of, and I think it encapsulates with the one story he has where one of his first games, he's just wheeling and dealing, like, we got to do this. Like, hey, I feel good with you. And got clocked very early. Now, I do trust that, because he's hosted a game and he's played a lot, that he's able to watch that and adjust moving forward. But I think the age thing caught me so off guard, because like, if you've been playing games this long, through adolescence, teenage years, puberty, all of that, you've basically been molded through the LRG org community. And as much as I love both communities, we are very messy. And so if that's how you grew up, and you grew up in the depths of, whatever this is, I fear that they'll go in, and as much as they don't want to do all of this, they might, old habits might die hard. I'll say it like that. And I hope that doesn't happen, obviously. Being the youngest person on the cast, I hope that he's going to be able to make his way through the game. It's just more, I've seen a lot of these people that have been molded through these communities that kind of just fall back on these bad habits, and it doesn't work well for them.
Yeah, I think Gibbles is going to bring something really interesting. I think Gibbles' look is a lot different than everybody else's. I think that might draw people to work with them. Gibbles did say something in his video in the similar manner. I'm not quoting exactly correctly, but I think he said something like, I've played them from very, very young and very, very old. And let me tell you, the culture of orgs have shifted. And to me, that shows that he's not only socially aware enough, but like pop culturally aware enough to understand like how I played these at, 12, 13, 15, 16, however old people are letting people play orgs. He's been able to see that shift. I think it's going to be really interesting. I do think that there's quite a diversity in ages here. And I think people who play orgs when they're young are playing with young people. Like I would never play an org if I knew that someone was 17 years old and they were playing. I just never would. So I have a feeling that like the younger ones are playing together, and then there's like a moderate mix, and then there's like the older mix or whatever. But I think Gibbles is going to use that to his advantage. I think he's going to have the knowledge of where all these people came from, and he hopefully is going to be able to use that to advance his game forward. I do think that he is 1000% Slytherin, though.
Yeah, how can I start this? I just watched, spoiler alert, I saw Surviving Bloomington last night, and Gibble played Surviving Bloomington. So that was in June, this is in July. So in Bloomington, he talks a lot, and he's very vocal about what his plans are and who his targets are and how he's going to achieve this goal. And I just hope from watching him like look so defeated, spoiler, in that elimination, that he doesn't transfer that over to this gameplay, and he can actually kind of tone it down a little bit. He's one of the players where I look at pacing again because, hey, May, let me give me a shout out real quick. He's one of those players that I feel like org pacing, LRG pacing, it's very, very different. And the gameplay is very, very different because I come from the org side as well. And I know it's two different styles, two completely different styles. And I don't think that transfers over really well. So I'm hoping like Gibble has learned that as we've gotten to Stranded now in his gameplay. So we'll see how that plays out. But definitely one to watch. I think he's going to be a high focus for a little bit.
He'll be fun.
Oh, absolutely.
I picture chaos.
Wrong one. There we go. I was trying to give Amir a shout out. All right. So moving on to Amir. Perfect timing. He is a 8th grade English teacher. He has competed on Survival Challenge, 7th place out of 24. That's really good. And he played the Challenge Great Lakes and the Caucus Challenge. Thoughts on Amir?
I want to go last for this, so can.
Okay. Bill, you
go.
I loved him. I think my favorite moment of any of the videos was in his, two of them. One, when he was talking about he is not any Survivor player, he is himself. And I love
it. What a genius answer.
I just love it. But I think more importantly, my favorite moment. You watch everyone else's videos for the most part. They get to the question, and it's Susie, who's not in your alliance, sees you finding an idol. What would you do? And everyone else gives something, like, I'll bring her into the fold, like, I'll make her feel comfortable. And he goes, no, she's going home next. goodbye, get out of here. And I loved that. I loved that because that shows confidence in himself to be able to pull off the moves when he needs to gather his numbers to do what he wants, and knows I don't need to try to switch my game around to now pull this person in. I wasn't working with her before. I'm not going to do it now. Goodbye. I loved it. He's just so authentically himself. Love.
Yeah, I really, really love Imer. I think that what he said was so powerful. I have two things that I want to say about him. First of all, those are the luckiest 8th graders on the fucking planet to have him as their teacher. What an incredible educator. Just listening to him talk and hearing the things that he was saying, not only just his strategy of how he would play Survivor, but how I got a sense of how he sees the world and how he sees himself in that world and how he has to navigate not only the game of Survivor, specifically as a Black man, but just like, I mean, that's coded language for the world, right? Like your race, your ethnicity, your sexuality, your gender orientation, whatever, it really does change the way you have to play the game because you know how you are perceived in society and then amongst players. And even if I don't think he will, but even if he goes out first, I hope that Imer is incredibly proud, because what he said in that interview to me was more powerful than what I think the season will do. I think that what he said was something that needed to be said, that people who are playing Survivor are not saying, and 100% true. And he moved me. The way that he talked moved me, and I loved it. And I think he's a superstar, and I hope he wins. And he's Ravenclaw.
Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of a tangent here, but you know, so the video, obviously, I loved it. Once again, one of those people that, for me, I feel like I could be friends with him here in real life, and we've played a mini together, and it doesn't really count, but we played a mini in real life, I think, like last summer. And everything that he said about, you know, the community and how, you know, perceptions and all of that, trust me, I get it. He did offend me by saying he was the biggest Survivor fan in the world, but like, whatever, I'll get over it. I will, and it's very hard. It's very hard in this community because, you know, you don't, obviously, I don't think that, especially in this community, I don't think that most people are inherently anything, because we're very one side leaning, and everyone knows what I'm talking about. I mentioned that he's met Davey before. I, along with a couple of other people, run the Survivor Diversity Campaign Twitter account, and Davey is a big part of that. And so when I got asked to join it, one of the first questions I asked him was, did you feel obligated to work with all the POCs on your cast in David versus Goliath? And he said, that's a loaded question, but yes, there is some form of obligation there, but also if your games don't match up, you have to be able to not come to terms, but you have to realize that, like, hey, I'm not some whatever. I'm just, their game isn't matching up with me. And that is how I feel about Amir, because I feel like he's a teacher. I have a degree in secondary ed and history. I feel like our upbringings and our personalities match up. As he talked about his actual game, it's like, there's absolutely no way I would ever play with this person in a game, because I just feel like our mentalities in game wouldn't match up. I feel like our personal mentalities would work extremely well, but when it came to the actual game, I feel like it would just be more of a, oh man, like, he's not trying to socialize, he's not trying to do this, he's trying to, he's focusing on the more strategy heavy side of things. And so when I first watched the video, it's like, okay, well, no shit, he might be screwed. Then I watched other people talk, and it's like, well, no, he's among like-minded individuals when it comes to the game. And I think that will help him move forward. Now, obviously, I am biased because, but me personally, yeah, as much as I like him, as much as I loved his video, and as much as I related to him so much in game, there's absolutely no way I'd be like, no, I'd socialize until I try to cut him or he tried to cut me, and then it'd be game. We'll talk afterwards.
Awesome. Well, Amir has some words, y'all. We've made him cry.
Aw.
Bill, I don't know.
Work.
I don't know how to change the banner so where it gets over your face, because that's driving me crazy. So I'm sorry, Bill. I keep putting the banner over your face.
Oh, I don't care. Whatever.
Okay. Well, shout out DB. All right, y'all. Let's move on. Who's next? John S. He is an accounting manager. He competed at Survive Fern, and he's a one-time LRG finalist. Thoughts on John S.?
I'm scared of him. Like, if I saw him in a game just watching this interview, I mean, obviously I would have never seen this interview if I was in the game, right? But I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna like destroy me. I think he's gonna be really, really good. I think he probably learned a very valuable lesson. It sounds like that was a tough loss, but like I understand why I lost, so that's really, really great. But like I've had really tough losses, right? And when you're playing the game, they creep up on you, and then they're in your, and then you revert. That's the word I'm looking for. You revert back, right? Like, well, I got to the end by doing this. My new strategy isn't working, so I'm going to go and do my old strategy and try to get to the end. I really, really, really am hoping for like a little redemption for John S. I feel like he wants it. I feel like he needs it. And I feel like that would be really fun to see. Obviously, I put him as a Slytherin. I'm excited to watch him play the game. And I'm really stoked to see what happens when him and Beck see each other. It's like all I can think about.
Coach Julia?
Villains have more fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be fantastic TV.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping he can do what he said in his video. And as a fellow Survivor Africa lover, I think he can really channel Ethan, try to go for the more lovable social route. And don't get me wrong, pull the nasty moves, gives the blind sides. But I think if he can find that balance and really toe the line between being cutthroat and still like showing relationships that he has, that he values them, I think he'll go very far in this game.
There are a couple things in this video. One, I'm going to make this comparison, and bear with me. I know that like half of the community hates Rob Mariano. One of the things I've always valued about Rob Mariano is he treats the game as a game. Every time he has been voted out, in his final words, he's always said, I hope everyone, we can all be friends. It's been a great time. It's all part of the game. I have no ill will. Even at the All-Stars finale, where he's apologizing to these people that are actually attacking him. The All-Stars jury was messy. And he's actually apologizing to these people, and you really feel for him. I got that vibe from John, where watching his video, it's like, yeah, okay, be the villain, do this, do that. But he understands the game is a game concept. And the fact that he's sitting there saying this, and this is another thing I texted Julie about. He's talking about how he is real life friends with someone that sat there and heckled him later on in the game after they had already been voted out. And he was able to maintain his composure and do what he needed to do. That is, you can't teach that. That's a level of self-control that a lot of us don't have. And the fact that you could sit there and do that and be friends with this person afterwards and still say, hey, it's all game. It's all game. If you want to be friends with me afterwards, we can be friends. If you don't, I understand. That is the type of mentality that I wished more Orgers and LRGers had. And for that reason alone, I want him to do well, even though I hate villains. I hate villains so much
Wow.
And hearing him say, Santi, don't worry. I thought you voted me out during SBS, and it wasn't you. But I don't like villains, and I almost want him to win because now I know how he thinks. He's a Rob Mariano villain. He's not a Russell Hantz piece of shit villain, and I appreciate that. So yeah, he's not the type of person I would work with in a game, but he's the type of person I would want to be friends with afterwards. It's two people in a row.
Don't get it
He is
twisted.
a Tony fan though, so that was negative points for me when you mentioned being a Tony fan.
Don't get it twisted. Coach texted me about all of these people.
Any other thoughts on John S?
Good luck, John.
All right, moving over to everyone's favorite villain, John B. He is an educator. He is a 2024 LRG Villain of the Year, 2 times LRG finalist, and he has played in 15. That's correct, 15 LRGs.
He won the 2024 LRG Villain of the Year.
Yes.
I've never talked about this ever anywhere. How was I to know?
I've never heard of this.
Either.
John
Bill,
B's
what
great. I got the pleasure of meeting him in person. He's really nice and sweet and very caring and very like friendly. In the little time that I spent with him, he made me feel very comfortable, very welcome, very part of the group. Unfortunately for him, I think he's someone they're all going to remove their buffs and look at the cast and they're going to all go collectively fuck, right? So I think John V has an uphill battle. When you play 15 games, you have a track record of, or you have a history of 15 games, right? So I think he'll be able to, hop over some landmines and avoid some explosions. And I could see him going deep, but I don't know. I think his reputation is just gonna haunt him in this. But I love him. I love you, John V. But I'm not picking you because I think everyone's gonna want to vote you out.
Who is picking him though?
I probably will.
You're gonna fight, Coach.
Julie, you can go.
Slytherin. He's a Slytherin.
I want him to win. I want him to eat this cast up. I want him to read everyone every single episode, and I'll be sitting here in my chair watching it happen next Saturday. But I agree. Uphill battle. There's people, probably half the cast or more, knows him, knows how he's going to play, knows the nasty stuff he's going to say in his confessional that we're all going to kiki at during the episode. And they're going to be scared. And that's unfortunate because I think he'll be off our screens too soon. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
John, for me though, I don't know. I love players like John because I play very similarly to how John plays. And if I were to see John show up in an LRG, I'd be like, you know what? I'd much rather play with the devil I know.
The devil
I know how he is. And John is an extremely loyal player.
Yes.
Versus somebody I don't know. And I would much rather play the game side by side with John and versus like, oh, here's this huge threat. He's played 15 LRGs. Let's get him out. No, that doesn't matter to me. Like, let's work together to see how far we can go. And if we get to the final 2 or whatever, and he wins, kudos to him. He's played 15, so he needs a win.
I'm hoping he has that going for him. It's something he talked about, that he wants to work with the big people. And that's something that others have talked about in their video as well, is they want those meat shields. They want to work with the big players. If he can find those people early and make those connections, I think he does have a chance to ride out a big threats alliance or something pretty far.
I'll say it like this. I've known John personally for 4 years. We get along very well. He's one of the people in the community that I've appreciated getting to know in this community. Yes, I do think that sometimes he gets a bad rep with a lot of people, and people are going to pass judgment based off of anything. There are 2 reasons. John, more than anyone else, I've always sat there and said, would I actually play with this person in a game? And there's always 2 things that would go against him. One is a joke and one is actually serious. One, he had never watched Survivor, so it's like, okay, why are you here? But 2, he's a villain, and once again, it's like, for me personally, I always have qualms, I guess, with working with those. Now, having said all of that, everyone has said exactly what I feel. In real life and being his tribe handler in Survivor New York, he's one of the most personable people you will ever get to talk to. You know, he talks to you, once again, a person to person. Never feels like he's trying to talk down to you. It feels like, it's similar to David, it feels like you've just known this man for years. Come as a minority in this community, the fact that he has gotten to the point in his life, where he has this very big education, and it's frustrating because it's like, man, I really don't want to work with this man, but like, I feel like I would end up being drawn to him once again, in a game. And in the video, he talks about how he wants to play this game differently. That he wants to go back to his OG status, and I do believe that. But I also believe that the LRG community, similar to the org community, put labels on people. And if you've played 15 games in 2 years and you're even perceived as villainous in like half of them, people are only going to go based off of that instead of what's happening now. And now John could come in and be the sweetest guy, not trying to do all of this. And people still will say, hey, you know what? Because of this game that happened 3 years ago, we got to get rid of him. And that's frustrating because because he's talking to the audience. In the video, they're all talking to us. They're not talking to their other castmates. So if he's saying, hey, this is what I want to do, I believe that's what he wants to do. I just don't believe that other people are going to buy it when he's out there saying it to them. And that scares me for his game. But if they do, and I'm drafting him, please don't take him from me. I'm drafting him.
Coach, because
I hope that it works, and I hope that these people actually buy it.
In season 2 of Chucky, they made a television series of Chucky, but in season 2 of Chucky like multiplies himself into a billion Chuckies. There's like this thing that they do, him and Tiffany, whatever. And they end up brainwashing one of the dolls into not wanting to murder people. And he's called Good Chucky. But all of the other characters don't believe that Good Chucky is actually Good Chucky. But Good Chucky can get shit done and murder a bitch in seconds if he needs to. John V is Good Chucky. He's a sweetheart, but he's going to slit your throat the second he needs to. And I think people are that reputation is going to follow him. But I love you, John V.
Coach, we're about to fight. All right. Let's move on. Oh, what did you put John V? Slytherin?
Yeah, he's Slytherin.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. All right, we have Matt. He is a professor. He has hosted a casual LRG for friends, and he is an LRG rookie. I think this is our first rookie, right?
I believe so, yeah.
I think only.
Thoughts on Matt?
Coach?
I'm going to make it simple, and we'll move on. Anyone that references Russell Hantz as a person that they would like to play as, no matter how much I enjoy the rest of their videos, I have to be out on, because Russell Hantz, and he acknowledges that Russell Hantz is a monster. He says it multiple times. And he also says multiple times, oh, a mix of Russell and others. And it's like, no, just say anyone else except for like Ben Browning or whoever, and I probably side with you. Because he's another person that I would feel like I would just mesh with in real life. As soon as I heard the Russell Hantz thing, once again, I texted Julie. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I couldn't do it. And I'm pretty sure he had a Hufflepuff banner in his background, which these colors.
We'll get to that because I had a feeling you guys were not going to believe that he's Hufflepuff, but I got notes.
We put it together here, and I can't. He's a traitor.
He would be a good traitor.
I feel like you get someone like Matt, and he says Russell Hantz because Russell Hantz is fun to watch. Like, he can be objectively interesting television. You get someone who hasn't played an LRG. It's not script, sorry, it's episodic. You might want to play like him. You want to be fun for I'm pretty sure he talked about wanting to be fun for the camera, wanting to come out here and make good TV, even if necessarily like it didn't work out well. So I understand that side of it, and I'm hoping that's what he meant when he meant play like Russell and he wants to be good TV. Because the rest of the video is lovely, and he seems like someone who's going to get along great with everyone and who's very personable, who's going to be well spoken. So I'm hoping that's what he meant.
I actually really like Matt. He's like at the top of my list here. I obviously put him in Hufflepuff because he has a Hufflepuff banner, but when you listen to him talk about his occupation and like what he wants out of the game, it is very Hufflepuff. I mean, like he works in counseling and he teaches counselors how to be future counselors. So it's very like health oriented, mental health oriented, like emotion. Like I think he's going to be really good at reading emotions, masking his own emotions. And I think in a way that is really like the yin yang almost of if we go back to John S, I think people are going to perceive John S and John V as straight up villains. And while Matt may be a villain, I think he's going to be like a Iago, like from Shakespeare, like a villain who is a villain because the friends think that he's their friend first. And I think that that is going to really do him well. It might not let him win the game, right? I think he might see a similar scenario to John S in the end. But I think people are really going to believe that he has their best intentions at heart. And I think that's going to, I'm hoping that that's going to help him go far. But yeah, it's those therapists you got to watch out for because they know exactly what to say, when to say it. They'll hold that shit for hours and know exactly when to drop it. And I love the people who have never played an LRG before. I prioritize people who have never played LRG when I cast my own games. And 80% of the time, not only do they make merge or jury or whatever we're talking about, but can go pretty far because everybody knows that once you get down to like 6 or 7 LRGers, you're going to have to start taking each other out. You want the non-LRGer to be in that 6 or 7 to take the other LRGers out. So I think people are going to see him as ammunition for like their later game. And I think he's going to build those relationships way earlier than some of the other people on this list. So I'm really, really rooting for Matt. And I do think he's a Hufflepuff, even though he's got that Russell Hands background. But Hufflepuffs want to be seen, right? And I got the point that he wanted to be seen in his video.
Well, we will definitely have to watch and find out with him. Here, moving on, we got Megan. She is an ASL interpreter. She's competed in Survivor DC, got 4th place, and she's excited to test her social skills in a longer game. Megan is one of the ones I am concerned about with pacing. Because Survivor DC, if I understand it correctly, it's a 1-day game. So, and she mentions that in her video as well. What are you guys' thoughts on Megan?
I actually think Megan's going to thrive. I think like she is aware enough that she knows like, whoa, I really didn't get enough time to socialize. I am worried that she's going to think she has more time than she actually has, right? Because she was like, oh, with the 2-day game, I'm going to have a lot more time to strategize. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case, right? A 2-day game is still pretty fast. But just watching with Megan, something that stood out to me about Megan when they were playing like the recap videos or the pictures, and everybody got like a little video clip or a picture. I have to go back and rewatch them. I watched them fairly recently, but in all of the shots that Megan is, everyone is looking at her smiling. So that shows me that she's like really surrounded herself with warmth and like brought these people in. And I think she's just going to have that personality to get I think people are going to go to her for votes. I think that they're going to need her for votes. I can see her being a swing vote quite often. And that's always the spot you want to be in Survivor is the swing vote because that's so much power. Super rooting for Megan, also Hufflepuff.
Coach, Julia?
Yeah. I do agree. I do agree with everything that you said. And now that I think about it, hers and a couple other people's videos that I sat there and smiled, and if I'm sitting there doing that, watching their videos, then I can understand why people would do that in real life and in a game. Megan's the type of person that I love to align with in these games because they're not perceived. I have a strong feeling that people are not going to perceive Megan as this game-changing player. And that's great because I love linking up with them because I actually get to pick their brains and learn, hey, of course they know what's going on. They wouldn't be here if they didn't. And I kind of just go through the game with them knowing full well they're more willing to cut me before I'm willing to cut them because they have that extra whatever it is to do that. And so watching the videos, yeah, I have people that, yeah, I feel like I'm being friends with in real life, people I don't want to play with, people I do want to play with. Megan's one of the people that I watch. I'm like, yeah, I would work with them. I would work with her immediately, and it wouldn't even be a second thought to me of like, hey, let's see what we can do here, knowing full well that she will probably make it farther than I do in the game. And I think that is, if the cast perceives her that way, then I think that she makes it very far in the game. Now, if they don't, yeah, maybe they get rid of her early. But I just going based off of professional LRGers' mentalities, I don't see them doing that because professional LRGers, for some reason, just love doing crazy moves for the sake of doing crazy moves, even though they don't make sense. For the 200 plus people that are actually watching.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to anyone that offends, but it's true.
I'm offended. I'm super offended.
Something that Megan talked about was obviously like ASL interpreter. You got to read more of those nonverbal cues. But something I don't think she touched upon enough was the level of like trust that you need, like, is put in her, like with being the ASL interpreter. Like you need to trust that they're giving you the right information. You're building that super strong connection with these people, and I think I felt that immediately, just so drawn to her. Again, she was one I was watching. I'm like, man, it just feels like I'm chatting with a friend. She seems very personable, someone that I feel like you could put your trust in. She's someone that I have faith will go far, but someone I worry in a cast like this, with how game heavy it seems like a lot of people are going to be, the ability to win the game in the end. I feel like she's going to have zero issues making social connections, but it seems like to me, based on pregame, it's going to be a lot of what's your resume? What were the big moves you made? How did you push the needle forward every round? And she seemed more of the subtle moves type, the working with the connections type. And I definitely value that, but I don't know how it's going to be valued with the rest of the cast.
Yeah, I can see her making it to final tribal council and not maybe being taken as a threat to win.
Yeah, I can see that as well. All right, we got about 3 more left. Let's move over to Nathan. He is 22, is an Amazon area manager. He has played 2 seasons of the Mole, Ohio. He competed in Columbus Survivor and has played many orgs. I have played with Nathan quite a few times online. So what do you guys think about Nathan?
This is the person I texted Coach about, actually. I'm watching his video and I go, Coach, I think he's me. I think I found my twin watching these videos. And he's like, I don't really know. I'm like, yeah, I do. Cocky, very tall, loves Vanuatu. Just the similarities are endless. I'm so excited to watch him. I think, like I said with Bennett, he's smart. He knows he's smart. He knows how to play these games, and that comes across in how he talks. Never watched him play one of these. I don't know if that's how he comes across to the people in these games, but I can understand how that might be off-putting to certain people. But I'm very much hoping he does well for all of us tall Vanuatu stands out there.
As much as I love Survivor Vanuatu, You never trust a tall white guy in these games. I'm just kidding.
Every tall white guy has fucked me over hard.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I'm not.
Oh, Joy is right. He's the type of person that, hey, this ain't my first rodeo. I know what I'm about. I know what I'm doing, and it's probably going to work out for me. And once again, as a spectator, as someone that's playing, it's like, no, we probably should deal with this now. Because if we don't deal with it now, then we have to deal with it later, and it becomes harder later because this person has now gained footing to do whatever they need to do. If you do it now, at least there aren't little seeds that have been planted, and we can kind of just wipe our hands of it. And the fact that Vanuatu is one of his favorite seasons, the winner of that season literally just did that. Just, hey, I'm going to let these crazy folks deal with each other. I'm going to be the nice guy. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that. And in reality, I am kind of an in-game villain, whatever. I perceive Chris as a villain. We'll take each other out. And then all of a sudden, everyone loves me because they did all of this. And that's a very scary person to play in a game with. When I play these games, my number one icebreaker is, what's your favorite Survivor season? And I base my perceptions of people based off of their answers. So if you say Heroes versus Villains, I just assume you're a casual. But if you say Vanuatu, you know your shit. And you know your shit enough to say Vanuatu above everything else. And I don't know. I know I was joking when I said it before, but like, he's also got the tall white guy thing going for him. Like, it's true. It's true. He's got it, but I don't think it's going to be. Everyone knows what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments on Nathan?
I really like Nathan. I think he's going to be playing chess while everybody else is going to be playing checkers. I think that he is going to control a lot of momentum in the game. I put him in Slytherin. I think that he is going to be able to connive his way to the end. I think he is going to be able to out-talk other people. I think he's already going to figure out how to uproot those seeds that people are going to be planting about him to make sure that he goes further. And I really want to see Nathan and Brooke in the end, just because I think the height difference of them standing next to each other is going to be iconic, and I want to screenshot it.
Do we have an exact Nathan height? I want to visualize that in my head.
Anybody in the chat want to tell us Nathan's height?
The 4'11".
In that scene that they showed, the girl was like on the couch and he was like standing. I really felt like he was like hunched. The ceiling was like right by his head is what it looked like. Maybe it was just the camera angle, but I like Nathan. Go Nathan.
This is my burning question. I mean, thank you.
We'll see if we can find out. All right. Our next player was in every LRG that filmed in 2024. Steven Lupo. He is the winner of Big Brother Hogwarts. He hosts Tribal Lines podcast. He was on the most recent season of the Caucus Challenge with a record 4 eliminations. I feel like his resume is a little bit longer, but maybe John ran out of room. What are your thoughts on Steven?
I mean, I hosted him, so I watched him play. I think Steven is really, really great. I think he's going to have some trouble, just like John V. I think people are just like going to recognize him. I think people like Dave and Troy might go under the radar, like they're vets, right? But I don't know. Like, there's something about Steven that screams like notoriety. There's something about John V that screams like notoriety. Like, you say Steven and everyone's like, oh, the challenge guy, the competitive events guy. You say John V and you go villain of the year. You know, Troy and Dave, they've had success, but they've like built it over a decade, right? Steven has just been on our screens consistently for a year. And I think people are either going to be drawn to that. I want to work with him to like reach the superstardom that he's had this year, or just target him because like he's had his chance, right? John V's had his chance. Steven's had his chance. I think people are going to say those things about them because they're so consistently on our screens. But this man is really, really smart. He, I've never seen anyone play so stupid. Like he's just so good at making it look like he's this doofus who doesn't know what's happening, and then swings in the end and goes, no, I wanted you to believe that. Here's why I wanted you to believe it. Here's how it benefited my game. Here's how it benefited the person that I'm sitting next to. And here's how I used all those benefits to beat them. And I think he is very people have a hard time talking about their game, and Steven can really articulate how he plays. If Steven can get to the end, he has that persuasive power to win people over because he plays so behind the radar. But then what he says, people go, oh my God, that's why nobody really knew what happened that round, because you were so good at not telling us what happened that round. And it shifts people's frames of mindset. So I'm worried for him just because he's so popular, but I really think he's a big threat. Sometimes he can talk too much. He's really great when you give him a timer. I love you, Steven, but he needs a timer sometimes.
He's the new hotness. Like he is. Like you said, no, it's the best. It's the way I can describe it. It's like you said, Troy, Dave, like Daniel. Like these people they've been around. They've played LRGs, and yes, they've gotten targeted for threat level in the past, but they have not been as visible like in going into this. Like Steven has been very visible the past couple months going into this game. Like he had his win, he had those elimination wins in Caucus Challenge. Like he's been in the forefront, especially someone who's like very new to this. It's one of the first people I could like remember saying like, oh yeah, I heard Steven Lupo. Like who hasn't at this point? And that's something that's going to be threatening. But I think the same thing I said about John V. We have people who want those meat shields, who want the big names in front of them. And I think his general charisma, coach is going to give him like the tall white man effect too. He's going to have the general charisma and to hopefully get through those early rounds. So if he can make those connections, maybe a Big Threats Alliance, I think he has what it takes to go far, right? Yeah.
He's tall and white.
Speaking of tall white men,
Tall and white is coaching this other guy.
No.
Speaking of tall white men, we have an answer for you.
Yeah. They've been 6'3".
That's pretty cool.
And we got some bottom line there. I will say I adore Steven. He is an amazing player. He's an amazing human being. When I saw him walk up in Survivor Angelica, I said target number 1. Because I had saw him recently win Hogwarts. I didn't realize he had played this in the middle of all that. But I just needed him out. Like, because I saw him play Big Brother Hogwarts, and he just has this way about him. It's very charismatic, very warm. Like you just want to be around and you want to work with him. And then, as you said, Bill, you kind of realize, oh fuck, like this guy's been playing me this entire time. So I couldn't deal with that. I think he does have an uphill battle, but I think if he can align with players, and I don't know how the tribes are broken up, with players like John and maybe, I don't know, Nathan and maybe Gibble, he could last a little bit, but he's definitely going to have an uphill battle in this game.
I was supposed to play the Mall, Ohio over the summer, and because of transportation issues, thank you, Greg.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Thank you. I remember texting Prod saying like 12 to 14 hours before the game starts, I can't get out of New York because Greyhound sucks. And they're like, oh, we've got somebody coming from that area, but they've already left. And in my head, I go, it's Steven Lupo. I'm not going to, it's going to be Steven. And so when this cast came out and when the season came out and it was Steven, it's like, yeah, no shit. I've gotten a chance to pick Steven's brain about Survivor. And it was validated in his intro video. Steven's very strategy social, and I've talked a lot about that tonight. Of people that go strategy social, I tend to put at a distance, because it's like, okay, they're always going to be trying to make, this crazy move, because once upon a time, Will Wall and Millennials vs. Gen X said, hey, I need a resume, and I need a big move, and I need to do all this stuff, and didn't win the game. Steven is someone that I could be friends with in real life. He seems like a bro. I feel like I can go out and get a few drinks with him in game. I don't know if I could go far with him, because it's always like, yeah, at some point he's going to try to make some type of crazy move to get rid of me. And it's, icing on the cake. Winners of War is his favorite season, and Tony's one of his favorite players. And Tony at Winners at War is the only time that people have, except for Tony and Kagayan, it's the only time where people can do crazy moves like that and actually win the game. So if you're telling me that, Tony is your favorite player, and because you appreciate, cool. I like Tony. Tony's cool people. I appreciate both of his wins. I can't work with a Tony. And so, based off of what we know about the cast, I feel like he'd probably be fine. I feel like he'd be fine, because everyone's leaning more strategic anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, Santi's right. If he aligns with the right people, the people that are thinking overly strategic, they at least get an overly strategic alliance of 4 or 5 that know they're all going to try to turn on each other probably earlier than they need to. And I feel like he has the type of personality to survive the bloodbath and make it to the next phase of wherever that happens. So having said that, I'm fairly high on Steven.
I love him to death, and I don't mean this in the wrong way, but Steven Lupo is a cockroach. You just cannot kill that fucker.
The Paw tried with me, Bex, John B. Brooke. Hang on, let me just do this. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so if he links up with John B.
He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah,
He's good.
We're good.
He's good.
All right, so wrapping us up would be Troy. He is
I'm out.
46.
I don't need to talk
He
about
works
that.
in development. He is a Survivor Brooklyn South winner. He's the Mole New York host, and he is a 2-time LRG finalist. Thoughts on Troy?
Everyone watched The Mole New York season 2, coming out May 2nd, I believe. Yep, give it a watch. Okay. Someone else can go first.
I liked Troy. He's rounding off our Hufflepuffs here. Steven was obviously a Slytherin. Not Slytherin, Ravenclaw. That's what he played in my game. So sorry, I forgot to mention that. But I put Troy as a Hufflepuff. I just think he's got the experience, and he's got the vibes. I don't know. I feel like he's just going to be like, yeah, here comes this part of the game, and oh, here comes it. He's going to be able to see what's coming, predict what's about to happen, read all of the personality types, and understand where he needs to slip and slide to move on to the next round. I've never seen Troy play. I know that he's played a lot, but I don't really watch these things too much. But I just think he's got I love the cool, calm, and collected people. So I have no idea if that's how he plays or not, but this interview was very cool, calm, and collected. I know what I got to do. I believe in myself. I have the experience. I don't know. I just feel like Devil Wears Prada, Miranda is coming to just kind of show us all how to survive the fashion industry. And I feel like he's going to be the boss, but not the mob boss. People are going to turn to him for advice, and I think he's going to be smart enough to give them what they need to hear, but maybe not necessarily tell them what they need to do. And I think that's going to put him in the best spot. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see him play.
Me too.
Troy
Sounds like he's got a beautiful family. That's really cool.
Troy is so cool. He's someone that that just means he's cool. He is just a cool person. He has an interesting life, an interesting job, a cool, everything about him is cool. You want to know everything about him. He draws you in. He's someone like you immediately want validation from, and he's someone you can't help but get along with. Everyone loves Troy. I love Troy. Please don't steal him from me. XOXO. That's what I have to say. I really hope he does well. His videos was one of my favorites. Thank you.
I tell my students on the speech and debate team, they always come with all these stupid topics. They want to talk about procrastination and we need more sleep and like we don't start school earlier. And these are like very, very like green freshmen, like easy topics. And I always tell them when you get to nationals and you're competing with a speech, you have to have a topic that people cannot say no to, right? Like if you write like, I don't like your speech, you're racist, you're sexist, you're homophobic. Like I don't like this speech. I feel bad about who I am as a person. I feel like Troy is the topic that you don't say no to. It's just impossible to turn him away. And you know he's going to win, but you almost want him to win at the same time while you're playing against him. So I think that's going to really, really help him.
You sound like the jury to token cheens. It's like, oh yeah, we're really rooting for JT to win here. Like that's what I knock, because that's the same thing.
The T in JT stands for Troy.
Yeah. I met Troy my second year of being in the community. Didn't play in a game with him or anything like that. And it was just more of, and I'm gonna try to keep this as non-biased as possible. He has one of those personalities, much like other people I've talked about before, where you just want them to like you. And I'm not the type of person that needs people to like me. I'm fine with people that like me, and I'm fine with people that don't. Troy's one of those people. It's like, okay, yeah, like, oh man, if they don't like me, then something must have happened. What did I do to piss off Troy? I must have said something. And never seen an intro video from Troy. I've interviewed him. I've watched him play. Watching an intro video and seeing seeing how much he talks about his family. He's shoehorning in family comments where they don't even fit. One, shows how much he cares about his family, but two, if I'm playing with someone and they're consistently talking about their family, I'm probably going to work with them because my family sucks. So I'm probably going to work with them. And, in this situation, it's not often in this community where I meet people where it's like, I don't want to play with them because I know it's similar to how a lot of fans say, hey, I can never play with Sari because I don't know if I could actually vote her out. It's like, yeah, I get that. Troy's that type of person where it's like, I don't want to play with Troy because it's like, I know at some point I'm going to have to, and do I have the testicular fortitude to actually do that? And the answer right now is no, because I haven't played with him. But like, if I were to go out there, hey, do I have the balls to actually do this? Not because of threat or anything like that. It's just, I don't want to do that. And that takes a special type of personality to have for people to have that type of mentality. And I'm sure we've blown up his ego more than we needed to, but
I haven't even spoken yet.
I voted out Coach, and I don't know if I can vote out Troy.
See, okay. So I met Troy whenever I played Survivor New York, and then he cast me in the Mole New York. And since that time, over the last year, Troy and I have become friends. We talk all the time. And the more I learn about Troy, the more I'm fascinated with him. And I just can't root against him. I think if I were to play a game with Troy, please don't quote this anyone, but I'd almost just be like, Troy, like, I'll get voted out so you can win because I don't want, like, if it's him or I'm like, well, I guess it's going to be me because I'm not going to go against Troy. Like, there's just no reason for me to do that. And it's just because he's such a kind, caring person. And I think as a player that comes out as well. So he is one I'm rooting for. He didn't pay me to say that at all, guys, but all right, when Julian gets back, we'll get to the draft. Anything you guys want to say before that?
I think this is a very eclectic cast. I think that this is going to be one of those games that, I actually sit back and watch every episode. And I don't do that with many LRGs, I'll do it for SNY leading up to my season and post my season. I'll do that. I did it with like Bloomington and a few Ascendant seasons here and there. This is the type of game because of the cast alone. And Will, like, I hope you take no offense to this. If it ends up being just like the worst run game ever, and I don't think that it will be, I'd still watch every week because of the cast that you were able to get for this season. And I think that is a testament. You said you had, I won't put a number out there, the amount of applicants that you had, and you were still able to get this specific cast. Yeah, I look forward to watching the shit every week.
Definitely agree as well. I'm super, super excited. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, you guys, graphic design is my passion. So I think for the draft, we should go alphabetically, which would then be Bill, Coach, Julia, and me. I'm trying not to fix this so I can get who I want. So I think that that's fair.
My name's actually Andrew, so like, I'm saying
It says Coach Drew. So, all right. Again, graphic design is my passion. Can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Bill, you are first. Who would you like to draft?
All hail Queen Brooke. I'm calling her.
All right. Coach?
Now that we're down to the nitty gritty, I gotta. You know what? Oh, fuck! I hate this. I don't hate this. I gotta put my coach glasses on real quick. My first pick is going to be Amir.
All right. Julia.
I was hoping. I'll take Troy.
All right,
Thank
where'd you go? Where is All right. Well, Coach, I'm glad we don't have beef now because I definitely am taking John B. And since it's a snake draft, I will take. Right? It goes. I get two, right?
You get
Yep.
two. Yeah.
Backward, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take my boy Steven. Julia?
I will take Bennett.
Bennett. That's Bennett, right? Nope, Bennett. Alex. Okay. Coach?
I'll take Dave.
Oh,
Daddy Dave.
not my
Yep.
daddy Dave. That was my next pick.
Sorry, Dan.
Oh. Well, you picked an excellent choice.
Enough of the puns.
I'm gonna. Oh,
Those choices are all scrambled now.
no. I'm gonna go with Matt. I'm gonna go with Matt.
All right. Matt. All right, Bill, who's your second choice?
Oh yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna go Alex.
Coach?
John S.
John.
You took my next two, both of
I
you.
built a solid roster here, y'all.
You
I built a solid roster.
I gotta think. I got my next two
If
people.
anyone has never read or seen Moneyball,
Don't worry, I have.
All right, Julia, who do you got?
Oh gosh, this is hard now. Okay. I hyped him up so much. I feel like I have to bet on myself. So I will take Nathan.
Okay. I'm going to take Daniel. And then, do I get one more?
Yes.
Ooh. You know what? I like fireworks, so I'm going to take Gibble.
Do I balance out my tribe distribution? Oh, so many hard choices.
Don't do it.
What am I not doing, Coach?
I don't know. Just don't take my next pick.
I'm gonna take Bex.
You bitch! I'm sorry.
I think it's a shame she fell to the front.
Damn it, I thought I was getting a steal there.
You can walk to the
I
rock.
thought I was getting a steal there.
Walk.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
who are you gonna take and then just give the bill?
All right, who do we have left? We've got
We have Megan and Andrew.
that's it.
Yep.
Oh, someone already picked the person I thought was going to get picked last. Oh, fudge! You screwed up the draft. I'm going to pick Megan.
Megan for coach, which means Bill, you got Andrew.
He was my next pick, anyways.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
All right. So I will clean this graphic up. Will, if you could send me an updated version of it, I can make it look pretty so we can put it on the Instagram and the socials. Let me stop sharing my screen. Well, that brings us to the end of this cast assessment and draft. Julia, Bill, and Coach, thank you guys so much. Will, Zach, John B, Troy, thank you guys for trusting the four of us to run this. Before we head out, Julia, is there anything you want to plug?
No, I have nothing going on ever.
Come to my college graduation.
Come to my college graduation. Come move me in to my new apartment. Follow me on Instagram and watch Mole season 2, May 2nd. You'll have a great production team to watch. Me and Santi will be there. Have fun.
Coach?
Yeah, I'm currently doing a Trader's recap on my new home. We're at Mucky Hope Productions on YouTube and Instagram. I will also be doing shorter recaps of Survivor 48 until 49 starts. And then next summer, I'm doing Survivor 50 seasons in 50 days.
It's the 3rd. I'm so sorry. Santi also gave me the wrong date. Blame him.
And also follow me on Instagram. It'll be tagged in this video. So, yeah.
Coach, you're insane. When you did 46 and 46, I was like, this man is psychotic and it's my level of unhinged, and this is why we're friends.
I appreciate it. And that's why I'm doing it one more time. I'm doing 50 and 50 next summer, and then I will never watch Thailand and Island of the Idols ever again.
That's actually what I'm going to plug is watch me next summer on day 8, that's day 9, Vanuatu. I'll be there.
She'll be
all
there.
right, Bill, what do you got going on? Any new information about Big Brother Hogwarts?
Yeah, Big Brother Hogwarts is season 4 is going to premiere the 3rd week of July, I believe. So be on the lookout for that. I haven't really been giving too many updates. I've been keeping really tight-lipped about it. Our cast is really great. I think that you're going to see some iconic vets, and I think you're going to see some who will soon be iconic new vets once we get them in their first game. And for those of you that watched season 3, we called it the twistiest season ever. It was seasons of 3, so there was 3 twists, and then there was twist of 3s within the whole game. Season 4 is going to make season 3 look like a walk in the park. The twist for season 4 is insane. These players have absolutely no idea what is in store for them. And we are going to flip Big Brother on its head. So come watch next summer. I'm excited. Thank you for inviting me. This was fun.
You're welcome. I have no idea. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my camera is like freaking out. I just want to give a shout out real quick to LRG that I am playing this summer. I am fundraising currently. If you guys can head over to midwestcharitytrials.org and donate. I have reached my initial goal, but anything I raise after this helps me get an advantage. Before we head out, guys, we have one more question from the audience. Who are your official winner picks?
I didn't think that far ahead.
I just did my draft. I didn't think so.
Stephen Lupo wants us all to say him.
So
I'm
no
saying
more-
John B. I'm going to say John B and stick with John B.
I'm gonna stick with Brooke. She was my first pick, so obviously I wanted her for a reason. So come on, Brooke, let's win it. I'm not a big Gryffindor fan, but you got this.
Julia, Coach.
I don't want to be boring and just say I'm not calling you boring, but I don't want to be boring and say the first person I drafted. I'm gonna pick someone different. I don't know why. I was watching the videos, and he may have been the ult, but something about Alex. I don't know. That's who I'm saying. Please don't get first boot and make me look silly.
Team Bill.
Well, I'm also going to flick my hair back and say that I am going to I'm going to pick John S. Because I want to make sure that no one picks the same one. So I'm going to pick John S. as my official winner pick. But I'm rooting for him because why wouldn't I?
All right. These are some great picks. Everyone out there, while you're watching, if you're interested in playing Stranded Season 2, head over to Instagram and follow Stranded_LRG. They still have applications open. I think he said April 18th, right? Or maybe I could
do it tomorrow.
And if this is your first time watching and you're wondering what the hell we're talking about and you want to play a game just like Survivor, Big Brother, The Traders, The Mole, Deal or No Deal Island, any of that, go to Instagram and follow LRG_casting. Every day there's a new game out there. There's original formats. This community is amazing. I'm so grateful to be a part of it. And with that, good night, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Santi. You killed it.
Thank you, guys.